All right, it's 6:30. Let's call the meeting to order. Julie, can you call the roll, please?
Certainly. Kara Kasten.
Here.
Ken Dawson.
Here.
Chris Espinoza.
Here.
Sherelle Fuller.
Here.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Here.
Terry Pavicic.
Here.
Don Renner.
Here.
Rehan Hashim.
Here.
And Jason Trejo.
Here.
Thank you very much.
All right, having a quorum, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Hank, I'll turn it over for you to item number 3 for recognition of the DGN boys and girls cross-country teams.
Invite Courtney.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. It is absolutely my pleasure to begin our meeting this evening with some recognitions of our cross-country teams at North High School. First of all, I want to thank the students and the coaches for being here tonight. I know it is an incredibly busy time, and there's lots of studying happening. There's lots of projects going on, last-minute things that our teachers are doing. So I just want to say thank you so much. I know it's another night out, but I really appreciate you being here because we're really, really excited to recognize these truly amazing accomplishments. And I'm so incredibly lucky and honored that I got to witness this. And so I'm actually going to call up first where our boys team is up first, I believe, for our state champion recognition, which is really, really amazing. Such a fun race to watch. I'm going to call up John Sipple, who is our head coach and is going to introduce the team. And I would also like to recognize John because he was named the Illinois Track and Cross Country Coaches Association Coach of the Year this year. So congratulations to John as well.
All right. If you don't mind, I'll just do this. So here we go. Hi, I'm John Sipple. I'm so honored to be here tonight with you guys and recognize these guys here who represent our 70 guys on our squad here and did an awesome job this year. We got John Courtney, Grant Schroeder, Owen Kelly, Will Surratt, Phil Supiel, Jack Loftus, and Brady Travers. These guys had an outstanding meet. They set a record in terms of the lowest cumulative time for 5 runners in state of Illinois history. On that day, it was extraordinarily fast. They beat an old record from like 1992 by about 8 seconds and stuff, which is pretty amazing. We ended up with 3 all-staters, Will Surratt, Phil Supiel, and Grant Schroeder. Grant was the runner-up in the state meet this year, second place, so impressive. Philip was 4th, and Will was 14th, right? Yes. 12th. They start blending together, I mean, things just happen this way. But outstanding effort by these guys. They had a fantastic season after that too, and won the Midwest Regional for Nike and went out to Portland to race at the Nike National Meet. I would argue that is probably the only true national championship for high school athletics, because you have to qualify for this. And they ended up 6th in the nation. Super incredible. And Philip just actually got back from competing in another race as well. He qualified for the Foot Locker National Championship, which has been around for a long time. Only 40 athletes in the nation qualify for that. And Philip finished 10th in that race this past weekend. Wow, super incredible. And so proud of these guys and all the effort and work that they put in. I'm super thankful for our coaching staff and all the efforts that they put in, and our parents. Holy cow, what a group, So thank you so much for the recognition, and super proud of these guys. Back-to-back state championships. Yeah. Wow, pretty awesome stuff. Yes. So thank you.
Hey, folks, don't walk away yet. 1 second. Don't walk away yet. As state champs, our 2 local communities would like to recognize your team as well. So first, the Village of Woodridge recognizes the Downers Grove North boys cross country team for their success this year and for the 2nd year in a row. Recognize all of our runners, our coaches, highlighting the commitment, spirit, and pride of the entire Woodridge community by representing us in all of your success. And Mayor Cunningham has declared today as Downers Grove North Boys Cross Country Team Day. So congratulations on that. And the Village of Downers Grove also recognizes you for your state championship run in Peoria, recognizes how fast you ran, your team ran this year, recognizes all of the athletes and all of the coaches, and based on demonstrating exceptional leadership, teamwork, and dedication to the sport and bringing pride to our village and school community, Mayor Robert Barnett has declared this entire week Downers Grove North Boys Cross Country.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Yeah, so boys, if you
on
want to
up,
come on
guys.
up, and coaches, come on up. We'll take a quick picture.
We want to be.
Come on, guys, get in front. You're the main attraction. We're just We're getting there. We'll work it.
All right, try to see my camera right here. All right, 1, 2, 3, say Boys Cross Country Day. Boys Cross Country Week.
It's the week, Jill.
Yep.
It is doubly special that we also get to recognize our girls team tonight. And in one of the closest races I've ever seen before in cross country, it was a really, really awesome day. And I'm so incredibly proud of this girls team as well. And before I turn it over to our head coach, Tim McDonald, I just got word from our athletic director, who's in the back there, that Tim has been named the IHSA Administrative Staff Coach of the Year. So Tim, congratulations. These wonderful teams, and again, we're so incredibly proud of the team culture that you have both created. But now I'd like to call up Tim to talk about the girls team and their third place finish at state this year. So Tim.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for recognizing both the boys and the girls teams. So I'm Tim McDonald, and I want to recognize, I'll start by introducing the girls. So I'm going to go with our youngest to our oldest member. This is a very veteran team. So we have one sophomore that made up our top 7. That would be Sophia Schlieder. One junior, that would be Lily Eddington. And then we have 5 seniors that made up this team. So I'll just go in order there. Audrey Caston. Kenzie Willard. Ava Gilly. Elena Todnam. And Hannah Renner. Couple highlights from their season. Probably the first one that stands out to me is they were able to win the conference on the girls' side. This was the first time since 1997 that the girls had won the conference title, and that was certainly a highlight for us. They were able to be back-to-back. We won the regional, won the sectional, and as Dr. Dement said, we were on the wrong side of a super close score, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. We were fortunate. We had 3 girls finish all state. Lily Eddington, Audrey Caston, and Elena Todnam all finished all state this year, and we just had a wonderful season. It was a lot of fun. We were able to do some things that you know, we're just exciting all along. And, you know, everybody here came back the next week after kind of being disappointed. And there were people here that won the sophomore or frosh soft level and the championship level at the NXR Midwest. And so they rebounded at such a high level, and it was great to see. So it was an outstanding season for the girls, and we really enjoyed it as coaches. So it was a great journey. So thank you for recognizing.
We're going to take pictures with the girls in a second, but any comments, questions, anything from board members? While we have
I've
the
got a
captive audience?
question for both the boys and the girls team. All of you have an outstanding commitment to excellence, self-discipline, perseverance, and having fun as you enjoy the journey. Can I have any of you share your experiences and what you have learned the most that you'll carry forward after you graduate and move on from your experience as being part of these teams?
Go ahead. Yeah, step up.
I think it's mostly just about like, let me take this thing out. I think it's mostly just about like consistency, just like our coaches say, just one day at a time, and just like don't look too far ahead in the future, and just if you just put like one foot in front of the other, then it just all comes along. Just as long as you put in the work each day, then the results come after that, and it's just a matter of just caring enough, but not too much, where you just start to obsess over it. There's like a fine line between caring too much, and I feel it's just a matter of just, I don't know, just how good like your training goes and that type of stuff.
All right, we have, 5 senior ladies over there? Could one of you please represent the team and let us know what you think? All right.
Okay, I'm Hannah Renner, and here, I'll take this out too. And just a little bit about our team. I think what makes us so great is the sisterhood on our team, and I think just working together and knowing that as a team we have each other. You know, not every race we're going to have our best race, but that's what our team makes. That's what makes our team so great, is our depth and our love for each other as well. And so I think just growing up together over these past 4 years is what made this team really special.
Great, thank you. Thank you. You guys are all awesome. Obviously, we don't have much to cheer about with our Chicago Bears, so we truly, truly appreciate your champions. Thank you.
I would just like to point out that, I think these teams have the success that they do, obviously because of the commitment of the kids. But, Coach Sipple and Coach McDonald, I think, deserve a high level of respect from everyone in this room. They've created a culture in these teams of success and acceptance, and obviously allowed these kids to buy into a vision that has garnered the success that we've seen from these teams over the last couple of years. Without their leadership, I just don't think that our teams would have reached the heights that they have. So Coach Sipple and Coach McDonald, thank you so much, and thank you for the leadership you have for these young people. It's so important, so thank you so much.
All right, I'll invite the girls to come forward for a picture with the board.
Get in the back.
Yeah, that's smart. That's strategic.
Say sisterhood. All right. You got one, Courtney?
Yep, I'm good. Yes.
Yeah, you can.
And again, thank you to everyone for our families for being here tonight, and thank you to the board for letting us recognize these amazing kids. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.
All right, students, I know you don't have much going on this week, so you're welcome to stick around for the entire meeting. But if you'd like to take the rest of the evening to yourselves, you may. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. You know, that's one thing that I just done.
I said, huh?
Second reception. Second reception.
I agree.
You know,
Should I know something about
play
it?
flag
She started
football
laughing.
before.
I went on a trip to Europe with one of those guys, and he was still training while we were there.
I know.
Oh
He would
my,
run every day. Yeah.
Okay.
that's
really committed.
dedication.
Sure.
Yeah. Did you play soccer while you were there?
No, oh, I mean, I did with some German kids, but that was just casually. But this guy was running
you holding up,
every day,
Jason?
6 a.m., waking up. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's rough. You know, we're walking all day. We're on our feet
Okay,
every day. And
Yeah.
this guy has that
They for
dedication.
sure got in their 10,000
Oh my
steps.
gosh.
7 for 7.
Congratulations.
It really shows.
Do you have a favorite, or are you just waiting to see what your
just waiting to
options
see
are?
who's
Okay.
That's exciting.
Congratulations.
That is really awesome.
So you don't care which one, huh?
I want to go local, but all of the schools I applied to are like in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So that's like where I'm.
Awesome.
Ready to go. All right, we're going to continue on with student perspectives. All right, who's up first?
I can go first this time. All right. So basically, as we're moving on and students are getting busier, we know it's a very busy time. And ever since Miss Lip came into our school and became principal, there's been a tradition we've been having, and we built hot cocoa in the Commons every Friday on December. And I think it's just such an amazing tradition that we have. Our bands play music in the Commons, and the atmosphere it has and the adrenaline that gets you pumping, ready to take those finals, especially on the last week. It's just a great way to start the morning. Second of all, we moved ahead from Hapara, and we moved on to Bloxy. And earlier on in the semester, some teachers were having like a little bit of trouble navigating the system. And essentially, if you don't know what Bloxy is, it's just a form of monitoring computers or like putting closed sessions on documents. But I think that as we move along, more teachers are getting familiar with it and using the system. So I think that it's super great that they've been able to like troubleshoot those systems. Lastly, going back to November, we had the Thanksgiving giveaways. I've never seen teachers so excited to have a disruption at the beginning of class. They gave away turkeys, pies, cookies, and Dunkin' gift cards every period at the start to teachers and students. And overall, the excitement that it was and the smiles on everyone's faces going to the activities office was unmatched, and the culture it brought to DGS was amazing. Lastly, so we've been building on the problem of trash in the Commons, and it's been going. We've seen an increase in encouragement from janitors and security guards or deans just walking around, just encouraging us to throw our trash away. And there are still some groups that aren't throwing it away and are still just being stubborn. But we're working on problems in the Principal Student Advisory Council and with different leadership groups around the school to just encourage people to throw away their trash and just build a clean and safe environment in the school.
Great, Jason.
Hey.
All right. So it's been a while since I've seen you all. So happy holidays, everyone. But currently stress levels are at an all-time high for students naturally because of finals week, lots of tests and grades that are deciding. So during resource periods, we had emotional support dogs walk around the Commons as a mechanism to help students through the exams. And I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback on that from the students, so I hope that we can continue that in the future. We also had the jazz band perform this morning, and we have the rock band that will perform tomorrow before school, and we'll be serving hot chocolate, just like he said, in the Commons before school. So then again, all these activities coming together to help the students kind of navigate this kind of stress during the finals week, I think is really important. So on Thursday, we'll also have a solo performer in the morning. And in addition, we have a spirit day on Thursday to show off your ugliest Christmas sweater, which I'm personally excited for. The gingerbread contest also takes place this week, so there's a lot of, of activities to support the students, as I said. In mid-November, DGN has its annual snowball event during the weekend of November 15th, and it's an event that helps students build valuable relationships and gives them resources to deal with, mental health issues that they might have. So the feedback from the students were very overwhelming, and they were very positive. Everyone seemed to have a wonderful time. We had the fall play on the 21st through 23rd, a Harry Potter spinoff, and the students did a wonderful job displaying their skills in theatrics. The student advisory board also met, and we talked about ways to encourage students to get off their phones and kind of incentivize that in ways of education versus whether it's reading or kind of like prizes or stuff like that. And then we also had potential ideas for off-campus lunch. Overall, the discussion seemed to spark ideas and solutions to both issues. More recently, again, as we just saw, our boys cross country and girls cross country team both placed 6th and 11th respectively. So hopefully we have a bit more success in the near future. And then the rest of the week is pretty quiet with the holidays, but the seniors are still anxious to finish their applications, and colleges have started giving out decisions. So again, good luck to them as well. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you both.
All right.
It's a slip, but it's, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. Item number 5, approval of minutes. Can I get a motion from the Board of Education to approve the minutes of the November 18th, 2024 business meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Terry moves, Ken seconds.
Thank you. Craig Pavasich.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Christopher Espinoza.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Kara Kasten.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Item number 6, do we have any slips, Julie?
One for the second reception, sir.
Second reception, okay. Item number 7, can I get a report from Ken on IASB?
We had our joint conference in November, and which was fantastic and was attended by all of us board members. Excellent networking opportunity, excellent sessions, excellent classes, and a big push for the Vision 23, which we're going to discuss further tonight, which is a very exciting initiative as we move education forward to make sure that all of our students are well equipped for our changing world.
Thank you, and thank you to all the board members. They all attended, and I know it's a good couple days of professional learning and growing as board members. So thank you all for your time, taking some time out and going to that. All right. As mentioned by Ken, at the conference, Illinois' Vision 2030 was presented. This was put together as an advocacy framework for the different professional organizations across Illinois, and really kind of these 3 tiers of future-focused learning, shared accountability, and predictable funding are going to be threads that you see go through this. Today we'll just talk about those things and the request to the board to take action. You can see the different organizations that really came together to put together this kind of advocacy and policy paper. And this builds on the work of Vision 2020, which was an earlier piece of advocacy that really the key trademark that came out of that work was evidence-based funding in Illinois, a stable funding model. I know some of our more veteran board members remember the times of proration and us not knowing if we would have the same amount from the state of Illinois on a year-to-year basis, and this was corrected through this advocacy through Vision 2020. So we're back at it, trying to figure out, what the future of education in Illinois is. And just like Vision 2020, where 90% of the boards in Illinois came together to pass a resolution to advocate for these changes, you're going to be asked to do the same this evening. Really, it looks at these next couple of things: future-focused learning, really reshaping our classrooms and redefining to respond to just the changing world in front of us. Really, the key pieces here: resources for safe buildings. We know that a lot of our buildings, after tax caps across the state went into place in the mid-90s, started falling behind. In our community, we were blessed enough to pass a referendum to help us catch up, but not every community has the resources that ours do. So that's an ask. Keeping up with emerging career fields, mandate reductions. The school code manual that I have on my shelf in the last 10 years has more than doubled. And that has a real cost as well to us. And then obviously maintaining our excellent education staff and attracting people to the field. For each of these pieces, there's a piece of policy that goes with them. And this is outlined in the whole set of materials that's out there. But you can see for all of these, then the state organizations would be working to try to get these policies moved forward that go along with them. Then shared accountability is the next one, really looking for how we measure success in the state of Illinois, looking beyond standardized tests and considering growth. We know, especially in the high school one, there's this one test that's given junior year, and it really doesn't factor in where students started. It just takes a look at where they were on that one day in their junior year. So kind of looking more at growth and proficiency, where do our students start and then where do they end up? Trying to get in some real-time data, not where it takes months to get results back, but these are all online assessments, which should take days, if not hours, to get the results back. Making sure that the assessments are meaningful and make sure that our school ratings are more in line with what actual student achievement is. Once again, with each of these, there's a set of policy statements that goes along to support these initiatives. And then the third pillar, predictable funding, really goes along with making sure that there is long-term predictable and sustainable funding in the state of Illinois. Continuing to fund evidence-based funding at that minimum $350 million level. Starting to look at how life safety projects work, and the idea that safety has to do with both your physical environment, but also the mental health support that we have that goes along with that, and the staff that we have to go and support that. So the idea of a facility sales tax, this is in place in about half of the counties in the state, but the larger counties, the process to try to get that tax option in place is unwieldy. So trying to make that more attainable. We know that the Tier 2 pension system is a major challenge for attracting and retaining educators in the state of Illinois. So looking at that as well. Once again, policy statements listed that go along with each of those changes. A lot around funding of these different reforms. And then my organizations, your organizations, the organization across the state are asking that this evening that you take action on the resolution to support Vision 2030. Really, these are the kind of the core ideas inside of here: keeping students safe, keeping high quality educators in place, enhancing post-secondary success, and improving the measurement of what works in the state of Illinois. So once again, this resolution would direct those state organizations to work collectively as state organizations around future-focused learning, shared accountability, and predictable funding. So once again, that resolution is on the agenda tonight for approval. Are there any questions from board members? I know you saw this presented at the conference, but this was just kind of the review.
Yeah, it's very well aligned with our strategic plan.
It actually
so,
is.
Yeah,
yes,
a lot of the same terminology.
So. Yes, it is, very much so. All right, that's up for action this evening, and should the board approve that, I will pass it on to the state organizations that District 99 is in support of Vision 2030. All right. With that being said, I'm going to invite the principals forward to talk about, January 6th in school terms is only 5 days away. So in 5 school days.
Yeah, thanks for that. That's great.
Who's counting?
In 5 school days, Arwen and Courtney are going to share what we're going to be up to.
I didn't think of it like that, but all right, that's great. Thank you. No, we're really excited about, let's see, make sure I'm doing this the right way. Yeah, here we go. Okay. We're actually really excited about this activity that we're going to just give you a really brief overview tonight, because the real fun about this, what we're doing called relationship mapping, comes when we get the data back. But we wanted to share with you just a couple of quick pieces of information tonight about what relationship mapping is and what you can expect in the coming months as we collect this data. So relationship mapping is, one of the hallmarks of being an educator is having those connections with students. And as teachers and as educators, as principals, as support staff, as our security staff, we all can name students that we connect with, right? What relationship mapping does is actually create an actual data set that shows us that connection between staff and students in our building. There are a couple of different ways that you can go about doing relationship mapping, which we'll talk about here tonight, how we're gonna do this first in our buildings. But essentially, relationship mapping helps to ensure that every student in our building has at least one personal connection to at least one adult in their building. Both South T99 and North will be completing this activity on January 6th on our Institute Day. And again, it's, as you know, is one of our primary goals for our strategic plan. This is also a really critical tool for our equity and inclusion work. And again, when we get the data sets back, it will really help our equity and inclusion teams at our buildings to inform them of what some of our next steps might be. We're really interested to see what the data shows and maybe what trends we identify that maybe we didn't consider before. And so our equity and inclusion teams are really a big part of this work, especially again as we get those data sets back and tell us perhaps what students don't have that connection that we assumed that they did. So they're going to be a big part of, again, that data collection piece in the spring. We have outlined a little bit of the process that we're going to go through here, and essentially our wonderful tech team has created an internal tool that is really, really easy to use, and basically every staff member in our building, teachers, parapros, security, our clerical staff, every single adult in the building will be completing this activity. We know, again, especially as we walk through the halls every single day, it's not just teachers making connections with kids. So we were really intentional about making sure that every adult had an opportunity to participate in this process, because we know, again, especially when you go through our lunches, we see our kids connecting with our security staff, our deans, and they're not necessarily in the classroom, but they have that connection with an adult that's really, really critical to their success in our buildings. So I'm going to turn it over to Arwen, and she's going to talk a little bit about the process.
Thank you, Courtney. So you can see here when we're talking about trusting relationship, this is a quantifiable process. And so we are giving staff some prompts to use when they complete this to help keep the data consistent. So we're asking staff to identify trusting relationships, and you can see it's, as a staff member, it's kind of trusting your gut and your relationship with the students. Do you think the student would come to you if they had a personal problem? Could be death in the family, sick family members, struggling with grief. Or would you expect them to come to you if you have an SEL concern? They're really, really nervous about a test or a college application. Just, do you believe you're a trusted adult to this student? We will say the staff will go through, I'll just come back here. Like Courtney said, there's a tech tool. Staff will go through every student in the building. They can sort that by alpha, they can sort it by grade, and they're just going through very methodically. They're going through that process. Once we have all the data, which our tech team has tested it and assures us, similarly to what Hank was talking about with the ACT now being digital, the data is instantly gathered and instantly correlated. So we won't really have a delay with getting the data back, which is wonderful. So once we gather it, our first step will be to look at a list of students who either had 0 to 1 named connections. Once we have that list, it will be confidentially shared with staff as a way to encourage all staff members to strive to make authentic connections with that student. So they're just the students who, for whatever reason, staff members didn't identify, but we know that those students are in at least 6 classes with 6 adults. We know they're in the commons. Perhaps they're on a sports team or in a club, and those teachers can then lean in, or staff members can lean in a little bit extra to ensure that that connection is there. The other piece that happens with the data, and this slide's a little more robust, is we're not only looking for the list of individual students. That's kind of would be our like our tier 3 at the individual level, but we're also looking for patterns and trends. So is there a group of students demographically that has the most relationships, and we want to celebrate what are we doing with that? And then there will be a group of students demographically that have the least relationships, and we can really talk as a team about what we need to be doing for a group of students in addition to that individual. And so we'll be looking at it based on age, race, gender, disability, socioeconomic patterns. One prediction that we have, and we'll see if it comes out to be true, but one prediction that we have is that seniors will have more identified trusting relationships than our freshmen will, because they've been here longer and have had the opportunity to get to know more people. So that's just one prediction that we have in the data. Data will then be shared with a variety of our leadership teams. Courtney already talked about that we've really partnered with our Equity and Inclusion Council. We have an equity facilitator on our staff, and when we were talking to her about this and connecting that group to the strategic plan, her quote sticks out with me, and she just said, relationships are the heart of equity work. And so anything we're going to do around equity and inclusion needs to always start with the relationship. And so that her quote sticks with me because, like I said, this is a way to quantify that. Jason mentioned at South our Principal Teacher Advisory Council. That's a really powerful group. While we certainly won't be sharing individual names with that group will have the capacity to kind of dive in and look at some of those bigger trends and talk as a group of student leaders about what we want to do. And then because this is part of our strategic plan, we'll be giving you high-level updates here as well. Wanted to end before we open up to questions with just a few FAQs that we've heard from a lot of our staff as we've got this, so we thought maybe you would have some of those questions too. One of the first questions is, why aren't we asking students to identify staff members? Right now, we're asking adults to identify students, and there's a few reasons for that. The process is actually recommended by Lurie's Children's Hospital's Center for Childhood Resilience, and they recommend starting with adults because it is an adult-generated exercise, and it is the adults that we're asking to lean in and make those connections. So we are starting by asking adults, and then once this process becomes part of our culture, part of what we do, everyone trusts it, everyone sees that it's moving forward, then we can have a conversation of a team of whether we want to ask students to identify adults by name. One of the things that organizations worry about, if you're collecting names of staff members, there can just be some fear in the beginning of, if you're a staff member and let's say you have the most identified relationships, is that good? Is that bad? If you're a staff member and you have none, what does that mean? Who's going to look at it? So just navigating some of those things in any organization from a personnel perspective, it's highly recommended that you start by building trust by asking adults first. So we're taking the advice from Lurie's Center for Childhood Resilience and starting that way. Another question that we've gotten mostly from teachers who are going to sit down and go through the logistical process at Downers Grove House, that is 2,595 names. So some teachers have asked, can we just only see the students on our class list? And the answer, again, recommended from Lurie's is no, because you've been teaching multiple years. You're going to have students over multiple grade levels. You've got paraprofessionals connected to multiple classrooms who aren't necessarily on the roster. And then we have security, deans, coaches who wouldn't see rosters. So we have different tips that we're giving teachers for how to go through and filter and kind of keep their minds fresh. The other organization I wanted to reference, in addition to our consultation with Lurie's Center for Childhood Resilience, the organization Safe and Sound Schools. They actually exist primarily to keep schools safe physically, kind of an anti-school shooting organization. And one of the strongest things they recommend that schools do is make sure that every child has a trusting relationship in the building. So in addition to all of the physical safety that we do in our ALICE drills, Safe and Sound School says number one focus from schools needs to be on building a place where students feel valued and belonged, in addition to those physical safety things. So those are two of the resources that we're using to do this. And then just back to kind of just to close in the beginning, we intentionally just showed some slides that really show adults and students building those trusting relationships together. These slides are all kind of fun outside of the classroom things, but a lot of those relationships happen right within the walls of our classrooms, and we're really proud of it, and we're excited to lean in and make those connections even stronger across our whole district.
Okay. So just wondered if you guys have thought about, so some people are just, I would say adults, I'll use the word stickier, right? They're going to be, kids just gravitate to certain people, and that happens. Have you thought about how you would manage that if you got a staff member that has 30 kids that they have identified, or when you start to, the kids start to identify those folks? Have you thought about how that will work?
Right. If I understand your question correctly, right now in this first go around, we're not tracking. Like if I'm the staff member filling it out and I say I have 150 students that I think would come to me and another staff member has 400, that's not a data point we're tracking this first go around. We're just looking at students who had the 0 to 1 relationships identified.
Okay. And you mentioned that 200, I think you said 2,695.
2,590.
Yeah, students. And how many staff members do you have in the school?
It's actually just under 400 when we're all in with support staff and certified staff.
We're just a little bit lower than that. So we have time set aside specifically on Institute Day, all at the same time for every staff member to complete this. We have about an hour, just over an hour for everyone to sit down at a workstation or with their computer to go through the list and click through the students.
Okay. I mean, I like I guess love the idea of this. I'm just thinking too, are there any thoughts around when if there isn't some matches, how are you going to create organic relationships? Because relationships are hard to create. Trust is hard to create, right? So have you thought about how you'll make that happen? Because you definitely want it to be organic and not a forced thing.
One of the things that one of the very first steps after we collect that information is our CSSS team is ready to kind of hone in on those particular students who maybe have 0 or just 1 trusted adult, because in theory every student in our school has a counselor and should have that connection or at least something, and so that's where we're going to start with that team, and they're ready to kind of dig into who those students are and really take a look at their profile in the building. And there could be a number of different reasons why that's the case, but our plan is to go through every individual student, again, who has 0 to 1 trusted adults listed, and start there with our CSSS team.
I just had a suggestion. So having just come from the Illinois Association of School Board Conference, of the sessions that I went to, the 2 best were, one was called The Power of Belonging, and the other was called The Trust Edge. And we went to the trust one.
Amazing.
I mean, part of it, the speakers were just incredibly dynamic and knowledgeable, and the sessions were, so the trust one was about the 8 pillars of trust and how you build trust, and how, to your point, trust can lead to quantifiable results in your organization. And then the power of belonging was a person who had led a school for many years, so he was an administrator, and now he's a PhD in psychology, and just how kind of important belonging is and how it can reduce risks and open your mind up for learning. And so my thought was, I wondered, they were sessions, if we could get those recordings, for your teachers to see, not only just because it was a lot of information, but a lot of strategies. So I didn't know if any of those sessions are
I think they may have the resources posted, so we could find out who they
but
were.
just they were great resources, and for both of them, one has a book out and one has a book coming out that are on my Christmas list, but I'd be happy to share that. But they were very dynamic, lots of information, and just stuff I know, the power of belonging, trusting relationships. I found that really interesting. That was the word used on how you identify the relationship. So just very relevant resources.
Please share the names of the speakers. I know, kind of to Sherelle's point too, our equity and inclusion teams are working on kind of a guide for staff members, like something along the lines of if a student's in your class that didn't come on the list, here are some different strategies you can build to help connect those relationships. Honestly, the vast majority, if not all, of our teachers are very skilled at this relationship building already. So we would be giving them just reinforcement tips or different ways of looking at it, but it really is a strength of our organization already. This is just a way to take something that's strong and make it even stronger.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, so the Trust Edge one was like one of my favorite speakers since I've been going to the conferences. And he did give us even 8 pillars for trust. And there were things that I'm guessing, I'm like, oh, you know, that's true and that's key. So, yeah, I agree. If they can get the
I can look and see if they,
recording or-
on their online resources, have them.
I can look too, and I can send them if I can find them. Yeah, they
That's
were
Yeah.
really great.
Very cool.
I'd just like to say I commend both of you for taking on this project. We talk a lot about, and we include in our policies and our strategic plan about inclusion and making certain that every student feels like they belong here at District 99. This is a proactive step that you guys are taking. It's easy to just pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, we're doing a really nice job. But this is a step where we're trying to proactively take in order to make certain that no student is just falling through the cracks in our district. And I think that's super important. Along with our 5 Labs technology, I'm really super impressed with this as well. I really would like to see you guys come back and report about the success of this.
We're excited about that.
Yeah, and tell us about how it's working and how those interactions with those students who have minimal connections with staff, how those relationships are building. So thank you so much.
And then we're also adding, each year we've been doing this spring survey. Ryan has run that and brought the data. One of the questions that this team is adding to that set of spring survey data for our students is just a quick check-in. Do you feel like you have a trusted relationship? Now, we won't know the exact student or whatever, but it'll start giving us a student lens on that as we immediately here this spring to start to pair with that data as well. So
We're asking families a question too. So students, do you have at least one adult you have a trusting relationship? And then families will be, do you believe your child has at least one adult they connect with? And to Hank's point, we won't be correlating that. That's anonymous, but it is a really nice data point that we'll have of, does it match? Are the numbers similar of people who say yes versus are they not on the list of 0 to 1? So it'll be able to let us start putting that data together to find those patterns.
After the Institute Day, what type of time frame do you have in mind as far as turning around this information so we can start reaching out to the students who have 0 to 1?
Pretty quickly. We're hoping by the end of January. If not, that's actually kind of our softer goal. We expect it to be sooner than that. We have a meeting with our equity and inclusion councils, our meeting with our tech team the week after we do this. They'll have preliminary data already put together for us. We already have templates created of how the information is going to go out to staff. We'll be able to, like I said, kind of disaggregate the data and start looking at patterns almost immediately within the week. And then next steps will be all of these teams that you see kind of diving in and talking about where are the successes, where are the areas where we need to continue really leaning in to build those relationships.
Yeah, this is fantastic what you guys are doing. It really is.
Very meaningful.
Yeah, and I think it's so relevant for to be innovative with so much going on today, period, that's affecting us and the students as well. I think the one other thing, because I never, and none of us ever forget about the staff, right, or the teachers. I would love to see, and this probably won't fall on your shoulders, but something like this too for staff at some point, because I know that is, there's a lot happening for them too in the school, and then normally I'm sure people kind of buddy up in schools and create their own relationships. But I love to see how this looks too from the staff having that support, and maybe even having someone in leadership that they feel comfortable with and they can have those conversations with as well, because it's truly going to be important for everybody, right?
It is. Absolutely. We talk about being all one community, and that's
Yeah.
absolutely a good point. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really appreciate the proactive approach both of you are taking on this. When it comes to building relationships, there are pockets of students that don't have a trusted adult in their personal life and their home life, and making sure that they feel comfortable in the schools is incredibly important for their success. So I really appreciate the active work to try and make sure that the kids have a better opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll invite Gina forward for course changes. How many waters do you want, Gina?
I know. One would work, actually. Thank you. So each December, we bring forward any course changes and new courses. This is an unusual year. In all the years that I'm aware of, I think this is my 20th, I don't know of a year that we did not have a new course proposal. So this is the first time, at least that I'm aware of, that is the case. And they're not necessarily huge changes to the courses, but we'll go through each one. So the first recommended change is a course title change. We currently have a course that is titled Pre-Engineering in our CTE department, our Career and Technical Education department. And we would like to change the name to Architecture, Construction, and Engineering. There's several reasons, and really it's truth in packaging. In this course, they are not just doing engineering, but they also work on different construction projects and experiences as well as architecture. And so we feel that the new title, Architecture, Construction, and Engineering, better represents the actual content, the curriculum of the course. Also, we have the engineering series for PLTW, Project Lead the Way, which includes architecture and engineering, and this course title is consistent with that. And it also aligns to different career pathways. So we feel like the pre-engineering title is just too restrictive and does not clearly identify the content of the course. We think it will be easier for students and their families to make choices with the new title. The second change we're bringing forward is AP Psychology. We are recommending that we change this course such that it goes from being a semester course to a year-long course. When we adopted this course, we had a lot of discussion about whether or not it should be a semester course or a year-long course. We obviously opted for the semester for a variety of different reasons, knowing even at that time that it would be a challenging course. It would be difficult to teach the entire content of the College Board. The content is dictated by the College Board in a semester. But we were able to do so at that time, and we have for many years. However, there was a major revision, which, by the way, we did not find out about until all of our students last year registered for classes. The College Board does not give a lot of leeway or time in advance to let you know of this change. Based upon the new skills, units, and content of the course, we do not believe we can teach this course such that students can be fully successful in a semester. In fact, the College Board recommends 115 class periods, and that does not count any assessments. That's just for content. So you can see where our semester, which is typically a little under 90 days, could be problematic. We did some research, and the vast majority of schools in the area teach the course in a year. For many of them, this change is not monumental. Yes, they have to make curricular changes, of course, but if they're already teaching it in a year, they have time to make those changes. We do not. We have been working very hard this year, our teachers have obviously, to really bring in as much of the new content as they can and provide students with resources for outside of class study in preparation for the exams. which are held in May, but we do not feel that that is a long-term solution and would like to move to offering the course as a year-long course. It's also consistent with, we have psychology as a course and then AP psychology. So that's 2 levels of the course that we think this will work well for our students. Economics is another course that we are recommending. We currently have a course called Personal Economics. It is through the Social Studies Department. It has been a course here for many, many years, and we would like to change the title of the course to Economics. There are many reasons why. One of the reasons is the current content of the course aligns to the Illinois Social Studies standards for economics. So the course is an economics course. It will clarify that on student transcripts. We've run into several situations just recently, which has not been the case until just recently, where universities are questioning the content of that course. And while we explain that it is aligned to the economic standards, we feel economics better describes, again, sort of that truth in packaging for that course. It's also consistent with other naming structures in the department. So for example, this course would be economics. We also have AP macroeconomics and AP microeconomics. And again, I don't know of any schools, quite frankly, that call it personal economics. The vast majority of schools call it economics. And then anatomy and physiology. Anatomy and physiology is a science course that has been taught here for many, many years. It is a very popular course, and it is a course that is very challenging for students. The level of rigor in the course is consistent with other honors courses, quite frankly, with some AP courses and even dual credit courses. The complexity of the skills are at the same level as those honors courses. In fact, the course content aligns, and we've had several meetings this year with the College of DuPage about their anatomy courses. And this course actually aligns to the entry-level anatomy courses, not just the first entry-level course, but the entry-level courses at the College of DuPage. In fact, the textbook that we are using is of extremely high rigor, and that was acknowledged by COD. So we believe the content of the course is such that students should be granted what we call weighted credit, which is true of like our honors, our AP, not all, but some of our dual credit courses. We are also looking into, and we're in the process, I didn't put it up there because it is not confirmed yet, it's not fully approved yet, but offering the course for dual credit at South High School. We have a teacher who is working on that with the College of DuPage, and part of the reasons why we've had so many meetings this year to determine where our curriculum aligns, what needs to be added, and what we might want to continue to teach within that course.
Is this,
So,
I remember there was a course that aligned with that personal training certificate at one point.
that's through our PE department.
Okay.
But you're right. We have a course that brings in a lot of anatomy into the course, but it's not an anatomy course. This is an actual anatomy and physiology course taught through science.
Got it.
This is a course that students, quite frankly, over the years have questioned why it did not award honors credit. And it really was eye-opening, at least for me personally, as we engaged in those conversations with the College of DuPage.
Do you go back and give students honors credit who have completed that course, or is this just going forward?
It's always going forward.
Okay.
Same with like the title, regardless of, which change it is. The title change, those are all moving forward. And they're for next year.
On their transcript, it might read one way if they took it last year or something, and then it would.
Yeah, it wouldn't show that it was weighted.
Or the name would be the old name.
So the students who are in pre-engineering, for example, right now, on their transcript, it'll say pre-engineering. The students who sign up for what we're calling ACE, but we have to, in education, do an acronym for everything.
Yeah.
It will say the new name next year. Same with personal economics. But we have, with personal economics, because it was being questioned, we have communicated back and forth with the universities, so to alleviate that for our current students, because that is a concern if it's impacting our students in a negative way or even questioning what the content of the course is.
Sounds a little bit like home economics.
Outdated.
Yeah.
Antiquated name. That's how I feel about personal economics. It's
Yeah.
antiquated. And I like that the fact that we have different levels. So it's clear
And
for
you
students.
have different levels, like at an AP level and a non-AP level. So that, was it psychology you were saying a year long? Is the
So we have-
non-AP version of psychology a year already?
So our just regular psychology course, not AP, is a semester course. Students can take that and then take now, moving forward, assuming that it is approved tonight by the board, would be able to still take, and even now, they could take the semester AP psychology course. They don't have to take, it's not a prerequisite. Some students will directly take AP psychology. Some students might want to see if they're interested, the content, kind of feel their way first, and can take psychology first. It's up to the student. Any questions?
How many students enroll in that AP Psych right
We
now?
have multiple sections, and we do anticipate, and now it's a semester course, right? So we have 3 teachers district-wide that teach it. They teach, 2 of the teachers teach other courses, and sometimes all 3 do, depending on just how many sections we have of each. We do anticipate that the number of students taking the course may
Will
go
go
down, because it's a semester course. It fills up a greater space, right, in your schedule. We understand that, and quite frankly, that was one of the reasons why we decided, gosh, more than a decade ago, to offer it in a semester. But with this change, we just do not believe that it is doable, and we do not believe it's fair to our students.
My daughter's in the course anecdotally, and studies quite a bit. But too much sometimes.
Especially this year.
Yeah, and she complains that it's too much.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And again, we didn't even find out. And in fact, we started the school year in August with not all of the information being released even from the College Board. So many schools that offer it in a semester were in the same predicament. But the schools that offer it in a year were in a much better place.
No, I appreciate
It is a
these
lot of work.
changes.
It's a challenging course. Sorry, Chris.
No, I appreciate these changes. I also took AP Psych and anatomy and physiology, and both were difficult classes. But the anatomy and physiology, having it be an honors credited course is fantastic. I know even when I took it at that point, there were a lot of students who felt that it should have gotten some sort of extra credit for it, because it's tough. There's a lot of memorization and such. So this is, I think, a very beneficial move for students.
Thank you. We get many students that come back that say their college anatomy and physiology class was easier.
Wow. Yeah.
We do. It's a very, and part of it's our teachers, right? We just have excellent teachers who challenge our students, which is good.
You
But
learn a
I do.
lot more with a challenged teacher than you do.
Absolutely. And ours are really, really great.
All right, thank you, Gina.
Thank you, Gina.
Thank you, Gina.
Trade out jury.
Okay, I'll hand it off.
They're gonna take the one. That's all right, I'll give jury.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have a lot.
Now for the exciting items on the agenda.
Working cash fund.
Everybody.
No.
These are the exciting items.
They are.
Yes, they are.
Well, if you remember back in the spring, we issued $5 million in working cash bonds for the specific purpose of replacing and improving our athletic facilities. We have all projects completed except for the field houses. So now is the time to go ahead and transfer the $5 million from the working cash fund, where it's been sitting, into the capital projects fund, just to repay that fund. So it's just a formal mechanics that we use in fund accounting, and it requires board approval. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Since we've done it, we've got to pay for it.
That's right. It's just been sitting in one fund, and it's going to be moved into another one.
All right, the other item is the tax levy for 2024. Last month, we brought our estimated tax levy to you. There's been no change. We've received no other additional information. So at this time, there we go. We are asking the board to approve the tax levy. The actual levy that we submit to the county is $101 million, but we just put the debt service on top of it so you can see the full amount of $112 million. Excuse me. Do you have any questions on that? No. Pretty standard.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory.
And then we'll bring this back to you in April once we finally know the figures.
All right, thank you, Drew.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Invite Travis forward to talk about repairs to pavement at North and South.
Well, that was exciting. I appreciate you paving the way for me. I'm going to come up here and show you a couple things on Google Earth. One of the things, if you remember earlier in the presentation when Hank showed the Vision 2030, one of those things was on life safety. And so there's a lot of different things that you have to do in order to access those funds to do repairs, such as have a public hearing, which we have tonight on the agenda. So those are the types of things that we're looking at, trying to streamline some of those things so that we can get the needed work done in different areas. So the saying goes, a picture is worth more than 1,000 words. So I wanted to show you visually using Google Earth the spaces that we're looking at repairing. So you can see the highlighted areas here inside of the stadium as well as outside of the stadium. It is all of that paving work. So part of the submission that you have to have, one is that you had a public hearing, two is to show the need for the work. So with each of these areas, we took some pictures with the different spaces, and so you can kind of see that's in that far, and that's that far right one, area one. The main issue with all of these is settling, right? So there are trip hazards that are across all of those internal spaces. These are all pictures taken from that one space. And so what we're looking at doing is having those, that area removed, put in new fill, and then repave those areas with new pavers. These other areas, there's one picture, they're similar where there's tripping hazards on the edges of all of the different spaces.
It's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Yeah.
See, just constantly throughout the whole space we have tripping hazards, and there's a lot of traffic that go in and out of that area throughout when we have any type of an event in that space. So that's inside, and then outside you can see it is that whole space from the entrance, if you will, to the stadium all the way down to the end of the pavilion area. And we have had issues with this for some time. So we put up the barricades last year because there are some major tripping hazards, as well as you can see just in general that slopes down quite a bit in those spaces. This is the entrance to the stadium. Again, another tripping hazard. We have put yellow tape there to try to help a signal. Be careful as you're going through that space, but we still have individuals that trip in that area. You can see that is settled quite a bit, as well as just other, again, areas that are tripping hazards. So that's the general work at North that we're proposing. With that, any questions about North?
Okay, so with these pavers settling,
yep.
What are we doing proactively to prevent that not from happening again when we do it?
They're going to build up the base stronger, so they'll put down more fill than what is there and make sure that the compacting is done appropriately. So there's usually some settling, and I don't know how many people were around when this was constructed, but there's a lot of settling in that area. It's basically a bog. So that is, they're making concerted efforts to make sure that they put down additional, a base layer to make sure that helps, as well as, if we need to, especially around that, for the long walkway outside of there, they're gonna have to do some different grading there to make sure that is going to settle in appropriately.
So are there any guarantees on their work? Or do we have any?
There's, as with anything, there's not going to be a guarantee. There's things that we can do to make sure, such as we've done soil boring tests there, so we understand the makeup behind that. But I've never had anyone that does concrete work or anything along those lines give a warranty on any of that stuff.
Well, that's one of the
We're kind of
reasons.
almost 20 years in on that work, I think,
Yeah.
somewhere around
I was
there.
going to say, that's not part of the master plan?
No, that's not part of the master facility plan.
No,
That's
okay.
before that. And this is also pavers because this is, I believe, categorized as a floodplain, so we
is.
need a permeable surface.
It is,
there.
it is part of our drainage solution.
Sure.
And that's one of the reasons why they had to do pylons on the stands,
Correct.
Yeah.
to keep it from sinking,
Mm-hmm.
because it is such a soft surface.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
And is that the same reason why the parking lot, which is part of the master plan, right?
Because
Is that
of
why?
drainage, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's held up well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
well, yeah, but that's
It's
also
more solid
collecting.
soil.
Or solid soil.
Oh, it's
The
more
water.
solid.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is, yeah,
Got it.
this is,
Yeah,
There's a lot of, in that general space.
yeah.
Good.
Okay, let me move on to our project that we're looking at South. So you can see we're talking about the staff parking lot as well as the bus parking lot area there. So several different, this is going to be similar to the project that we've completed the last 2 summers, where we're milling 2 inches off of the top, making sure that our drainage is sloped appropriately, making any adjustments, putting on a new top coat, as well as striping everything back to the way that it is. So you can see just in general, there's lots of cracking, which is not atypical for asphalt, but you can see we have quite a bit of areas where we have holes, as you can see in some of the different pictures, and it causes a lot more issues when you have freezing and thawing that are going on. So we have just 3 pictures there in that area. Our bus parking lot has quite a bit of spaces that need attention. We have already patched some of these spaces. They have, that patchwork has come up. So we are in need of making sure that we redo the entire thing. And of all days, I don't know if you remember the Thursday before, or the Wednesday before III conference, when it started snowing, that's the day I decided to go out and take pictures. So it was an enjoyable day of getting pictures of where the needed work. So you can see there's quite a bit of spaces and need in this parking lot. I have 8 different pictures that we show the need for work there. And then we have an alternate bid for to have the visitor parking lot just resurfaced. It's not, we're not tearing that out or doing anything along those lines. So we'll see if that is acceptable in the use of these funds as well when we go through that process. So any questions about?
Are you targeting for summer for these projects? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have the information, as you can see, kind of the wording in the base bid and our bid, so we have that ready to go. Wanted to wait, make sure that we had this public hearing first, get that submitted to ISB, and we'll get going on the getting the sealed bid process. That's all I have for
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate
Stay
it.
safe.
All right, there's a public hearing for this in a moment for anybody to address the board on paving. And, as we do each month, we update the board on Freedom of Information requests. As we receive them, we fill them. They are posted publicly and listed on our website. You can find them by searching on our website for FOIA.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, item number 8, I'm going to open up a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board on the need to undertake repairs to the pavement of school bus turnarounds, student drop-off areas, sidewalks, and parking areas at North High and South High? Hearing none, can I get a motion from the Board of Education to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Terry moves, Sherelle seconds. And then we can do a roll call vote, please.
Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Mr. Espinoza,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Public hearing is closed. Thank you. Moving to item number 9 on the consent agenda. Before the board votes on the consent agenda, is there any agenda item a board member would like to pull out of the consent agenda for further discussion? Hearing none, can I get a motion for the Board of Education to approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes item A, personnel report leave of absence classified, B, personnel report resignation classified, C, personnel report termination classified, D, resolution authorizing notice of dismissal to educational support staff employee, E, November financial pages, F, student trip, G, acceptance of grant, Rotary Club of Downers Grove, H, acceptance of donation, Dennis Zapata, and I, acceptance of donation, anonymous organization.
So moved.
Second.
Terry moves, Ken seconds.
Thank you. Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Mr. Espinoza,
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you to the donors.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to all these donors. They're fabulous. Fabulous. Thank you.
Moving on to item number 10, recommendations for action. Can I get a motion for the Board of Education to adopt the resolution to support Illinois Vision 2030 Education Improvement Policy?
So moved.
Second.
Chris moves and Kara seconds.
Mr. Espinoza,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Can I get a motion for the Board of Education to approve the 2025-2026 course changes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Terry, Sherelle.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I was reading something else, I apologize.
No problem. Thank you. Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Mr. Espinoza,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. For item number C, in view of the current financial condition of the district, the Board of Education will consider the adoption of a resolution abating the working cash fund of the district. Can I get a motion for the Board of Education to adopt the resolution abating the working cash fund of Community High School District Number 99, DuPage County, Illinois?
So moved.
Second.
Ken moves, Chris seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll for a vote upon the motion to adopt the resolution.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Mr. Espinoza,
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Ms. Nidek, please record this in the records of the Board of Education. Item D, can I get a motion for the Board of Education to approve the 2024 tax levy for $112,670,385, certificate of tax levy, the certification of certificate of tax levy, and the certificate of compliance with the truth and taxation law as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
Sarah
Second.
moves, Ken seconds.
Thank you. Kara Caston,
Aye.
Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Mr. Espinoza,
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Aye, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Any old business, Hank?
No?
And any new business? Okay. Second, reception of visitors.
Yep, I have one slip.
Okay.
I don't have a name here. Oh, I guess I do. Roberto Dizzato? Roberto?
You want to come step
Come
up?
on forward to the mic. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board.
Okay, thanks. Thank you all. My first question is, currently the students have their cell phones with them in class. Can we set up that they have to turn it into a cell phone box? So every time the students come in, they put it into the cell phone box. This is a requirement. Other schools have this, and it allows students to really focus on learning. We've seen the scores drop 5%. I watched the November meeting, and I think that if we have the students turn in their cell phones, we will see at least 1% increase in score. The students will be able to focus, not be distracted by the phones, because right now the current process is it's up to the teacher. So the mean teachers make the students turn in the cell phone. And the okay teacher's like, okay, you could just keep it with you, just don't take it out. But that's really hard for students because they're constantly distracted. So I think we could get, and I think one of the gentlemen even said it, Mr. Hashim said, oh, get off the phones. So, if the students can, not have that burden on them, the school and the teachers take it away, you turn it in the front of the classroom, and then you will get it back. The second thing that I listed, I have a freshman and a senior at DGS. They have no books. Their English class, they have no books. Their social studies class, they have no books. Their math class, they have no books. I am not surprised that the scores are plummeting. If I looked at many other schools in DuPage County, and their scores were much higher on English language, for example. Like DGS scored 41%. So reading at grade level is 100%. DGS had 41%. If you look at Glenbard South, they're reading at 48%. That's a huge jump. So can we bring books back to students? I know that if we bring books back to students, they'll be able to read. I know Mr. Renner said his daughter was in anatomy physiology. Does she have a book in that class?
I said she was in AP psychology. I believe there's.
So AP classes, which I don't know what percent of the student body is AP, maybe 10%, something like that. So they're the lucky ones with books. I'm sorry, what was the third item I had listed?
Requesting a plan to improve test scores, a detailed plan to improve test scores.
Thank you. Oh, yes, who could be accountable? So since we know the scores are plummeting, could there be someone to hold the staff accountable? For example, the chair of the literature department. I would hold that person or the social studies chair accountable. Hey, reading is what we need to teach these students, so what is your performance plan? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have your slip back?
Yes.
Appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 14. Can we get a report from Jenny on Lend, please?
Yeah, we have not had any new meetings since our last board meeting. We had the large group breakfast at the conference Saturday morning, which wasn't a lot of, they touched on a few items, but nothing really substantive. There is a special meeting this Wednesday at 9 o'clock to discuss the Tier 2 pension reform bill, which I'm guessing it's going maybe a little bit faster than they thought, or
Very mixed reports on that.
okay.
So
So
we'll
there's
see
a
Wednesday.
a special meeting Wednesday morning. A TRS expert will be there to give an update and answer questions, and then the next meeting would be in January after that.
And I was part of a special roundtable meeting on dual credit with representatives from the community colleges, high schools, and legislators. So we're hoping to make some advancements. And if you remember, we had a bill that was passed unanimously in the House and wasn't picked up in the Senate last year that would have helped us greatly with dual credit. We are hoping to bring some version of that back this year and hopefully make some renewed progress.
Okay, can I get a report on SACID? Chris?
We haven't had a meeting since August, I think.
Yeah, I think you guys are back in January?
Yeah, I think it's
I'll
the 20-something of January. We get the email update. Nothing, I haven't got any information since then.
I have just a managerial meeting this month. Nothing it's first year of our new executive director, and it's the first year. She's learning a lot that's there and working her way through. So nothing out of the ordinary to report at this point.
Terry, any update from the foundation?
Just that we're looking for more ideas for the Mark McDonald Fund. The initial idea was softly responded to, let's just say. So we're looking for a new thing, but we're also meeting Wednesday. So
Okay. Ken, I think we can just skip you, right?
yeah.
And then Sherelle, anything to report on the Plan Commission?
No, they're actually having a meeting tonight, but I will take a look at what's presented there tonight and share next time.
Okay. Upcoming board meetings, the next board meeting will be January 13th, 2025. I'm sorry?
We put the wrong date on the.
Oh.
It's
okay.
January 13th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll be a workshop meeting here at the ASC at 6:30 p.m., followed later that month, January 27th, again at the ASC. That'll be our regular business meeting on January 27th. And then before we go into closed session, I just want to take a moment. I wanted to read a statement about a recent event. I wanted to take a moment to address a matter that recently occurred on one of our school buses. While coming home from school, a school bus driver called a group of African-American students from DGS the N-word. It was brought to the DGS administration's attention by DGS students, and our DGS administrators responded immediately. The D99 administration immediately contacted the bus company and directed the company to remove this driver from all D99 bus routes, and conveyed our expectations as a district that all drivers understand and reflect our core values going forward. DGS administrators, deans, counselors, and teachers all reached out to the DGS students who were impacted by this harmful speech to assure them that they were in a safe place and that this bus driver would never be driving a D99 again. I commend Principal Lipp for reaching out to the families directly to comfort them and assure them that D99 is taking every step we can to ensure that this type of conduct would never happen again. I also want to commend our district for having a protocol in place to respond to this type of harmful speech and conduct. Our Black Student Union and our Equity and Inclusion Council members work together with the DGS administration in responding to this matter. It's one thing to include in our mission statement that we want all children to feel like they belong here at D99, but it's another thing to live and breathe that mission and to actually carry out our policies. While I'm deeply disappointed that these children at DGS had to endure this type of harmful speech, I'm very encouraged by the way that our administrators, our counselors, and our staff responded to help these DGS students who were impacted by this conduct. Thank you very much, Arwen.
Thank you.
Okay. We are going to go into closed session. So can I get a motion from the Board of Education to go into closed session for collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees in accordance with 5 ILCS 120/2C2.
So moved.
Second.
Terry moves, Ken seconds.
Very much. Terry Pavasich?
Aye.
Ken Dawson?
Aye.
Chris Espinoza?
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller?
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom?
Aye.
Kara Caston?
Aye.
And Don Renner?
Aye, motion carries, and for the members of the public, we'll be coming out of closed session and we'll be taking no further action.
Other than to adjourn.
Other than to adjourn, yes. Thank you.
I'm sure you want to go home.
Yes.
I just want to say one thing.
Yes, please go
On
ahead.
a lighter note, I want to congratulate the bald eagle. Today, it officially became the national bird after over 250 years of it being on every symbol that we have. It is now the national bird. So congratulations to the bald eagle.
Thank you, Terry.